Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. I'm back with a project here. I call them Why Do Reels Fail? I'm always interested in why reels seize up, fail, or just plain quit fishing again. And this time around we have the opportunity with a tuition reel. Remember my tuition reels, they're inexpensive, maybe $1 or $2 or whatever. Sometimes they come in a batch with other reels that I bought and they were just thrown in. And this one is called Mr. Big Fish by South Bend. So South Bend, as a fishing reel manufacturer, tended to make a lot of rod and reel combinations sold in general merchandise stores. I guess today's equivalent of a Walmart would have been a Kmart, a Montgomery Ward's, a Sears, or the like. This one is around the 1990s. You can tell that by the plastic casing it went to with the metal spool. And this one is just dead seized. There's no way you can do anything with this. So the ideas that I have with why reels fail is you can learn as much as possible by figuring out what causes a problem. Sometimes, they say you learn from your failures, right? And I think that's pretty much will be the case here in terms of trying to figure out what went wrong with this reel. So stay tuned. We'll try and take this reel apart to the best that we can. We'll do an internal examination of it and find out just how the reel was made. Maybe we'll even see it. So reels fail for a couple of reasons. Some of the times these reels fail because of inferior parts. Sometimes it's corrosion. Sometimes it's a broken piece or part inside. Sometimes it's dried grease. And the more you can learn about that, the more you can avoid buying a reel like this from a flea market or a used vendor or on eBay. Sometimes these are advertised as the reel's not working for parts and repair. I don't know anybody that has a Mr. Big Fish reel from South Bend, so I don't know what you can do for parts with that. But truth of the matter is a lot of these parts probably are interchangeable with the South Bend reels as well. So let's get started. We'll take this apart. We're going to remove as many pieces and parts as we can. Well, I'm noticing, first of all, the knob doesn't even turn on the handle. That's kind of interesting by itself. Handles are controlled by a little stud that is generally connected to it. And that just says this reel hasn't had any kind of maintenance on it, that's for sure. And if you look inside on this, the first thing you're going to notice is it's a steel post. How do I know it's steel? Because it's all rusting inside. And this one should just flip nice and easily. It doesn't, right? It only has a minimum swing. That should fold all the way in. The rust has choked this little collar section now to the point where you just can't bring that all the way in. If you wanted to restore this reel, if you had any hopes that it could go fishing again, you would flood this this section right here with some penetrating oil and try to do that. Also, this is we'll be nice and call it patina. It's broken paint on here. It's all bubbled in that. This handle, I would call it pot metal, I guess. I'm not sure, some kind of an alloy type of a metal. But if this is indicative of what the rest of the reel is, well, then that's probably why it's not working very well. Let's take the spool off, if we can get the spool off. Wow, I don't think we're going to get the spool off. Either somebody got real aggressive in tightening this button down, or this button is frozen onto the shaft as well. Yeah, we can't turn that. We'll take that from the inside if we can get to the inside. So this is a good time while I'm taking these pieces and parts off to ask you to subscribe to my channel if you like these kinds of videos. You'll see me work on all kinds of reels, and from time to time I'll do a tuition reel just to learn more about the reel itself. Sometimes we're successful in restoring them. Sometimes, well, they just wind up in a parts container or in the recycle bin. There's not much you can do with this. It's one of those things that you even want to hold on to a reel like this. I haven't seen one, and chances are I'll never see one again. And you just want to put it in a parts bin, or you just want to make it plastic bags or some other form of decking or plastic recycling. That's about what this will become to. I'm surprised. These are steel screws. You can tell the heads are totally rusted on them. And right now we're just trying to get to the inner cavity of this. And hopefully we'll be able to release that axle shaft and see what else is going on with the reel. So there's one more screw here. you can tell that the reel hasn't been serviced, but the screws are hardly remaining intact. The heads are all rusted down on them, and you can just about get a screwdriver into those slots. So props to those screws for coming out, but they're not high quality screws. Well, I'm wondering if we can even get this case off. I just looked at how badly that was, and I'm looking here. I'm assuming this is a bushing, and that may be to the point where it's just not going to allow us to take the case off. So I have no hopes of this reel ever coming back and fishing again. I think that would kind of be overly optimistic. So I'm just going to see if we can't work a wedge in here. Use a blade of a plastic screwdriver, and I am able to get the case out for the most part. Well, if there's an answer to it, it's right there. We have just a dried mess in this reel. I'm not even sure what that is, if that's grease or if that's corrosion or what have you, but well, we can at least turn it with this. You can't turn it by the handle, and now we're not turning it by the main gear either. I'm trying to work this down so that we can get to the crosswind block. Now, I don't know if I should be placing the blame of this reel failure on the reel or on the owner of the reel, or on unfortunate circumstances somewhere. I think one of the things you learn very quickly is that, there's two sides to every story, right? And in this case, I'm pretty sure that the story here is lack of maintenance. I'm just trying to keep some pressure on this main gear. And just like every other screw in here, this one is rusted away as well. And I don't think we're going to be able to get that screw out. If we are, we're going to stop right here because there's nothing salvageable in the reel itself. Oh, there we go. Got lucky. We're going to be able to get that crosswind block screw out. Sometimes in the darkest hours. So what we're seeing here, I believe this is salt water. That would be the only thing that would kind of clog this up like that. So, but we're not going to get any further than that. So, well, what have we learned? We learned that this reel has certainly suffered from inferior pieces and parts, that there's no way to salvage this reel, and you might as well not spend any time on it. I'm looking here on the crosswind block. We've got chipped teeth on the crosswind gear itself. You can see down below here the teeth are missing in various stages in between the salt clog. Definitely a lower end reel. We've got plastic or rubber bushings associated with it. And overall, this reel's just kind of gone. If anybody owns a Mr. Big Fish and would like to try and solve any of these pieces and parts, leave me a note. We'll put it in the mail to you. But there's nothing really here. I'm noticing that the gear teeth here are chipped, and as I look at the main gear, those teeth are cracked as well. I'm going to imagine on that one, and you got to have a good imagination, I'm going to imagine on that one this thing seized up and somebody tried to crank out of it with the handle and just stripped the gear here. The back gear is probably shot as well, which would have affected the teeth on the oscillation gear. The spool shaft itself is frozen into the crosswind block. The adjuster knob on the spool is frozen onto the shaft. All that says is that they've used steel pieces in there. This got into the ocean, I'm assuming, with all of this salt residue and the like underneath. That just ate the metal up right away, the steel, and rusted the steel in place and caused this reel to fail. So, a little quick autopsy on this one. This one is done, and we're going to move on to another one. But that's a lesson learned for $1 as to why fishing reels fail. And sometimes what you learn is which fishing reels to avoid. So certainly if I see a Mr. Big Fish by South Bend on the old internet or in somebody's parts lot, we're going to discount this one pretty quickly because it's just it's just a tough reel to work on and to hope to keep fishing. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, again, please subscribe if you want to see more. That's the best way to do it. Hit that notification button. If you have a question on this reel or any reel in particular, if you leave it in the comment section, I'll be happy to try and give you an answer on that. And finally, if you have a reel that needs service or repair, contact me by sending me an email to the business card address that follows. I'll be happy to provide you with reel repair information. So, to everybody as a first responder and essential personnel, thank you for everything that it is that you do. We appreciate all of your efforts and dedication to tasks during the pandemic. To all, please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.